Rather, lads, good morning. Welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast and welcome back to the morning show with me, Cossy. We're going to be running through a couple of stories this early morning. Ruben Neves, what is the latest around him and joining Arsenal? Of course, we know that he's going to be leaving Wolves in the summer. So, what is the latest and what is the probability that Arsenal can beat Barcelona and Manchester United around that story? Martinelli, according to Fabrizio Romano, is set to get a new contract. What are my thoughts and what are your thoughts here? There in the comment box below. We would love to actually discuss that, as well as Saka, the injury update at Arsenal. Lots of news, lots of negative news around Arsenal, especially in terms of injuries. We're going to be diving into that, and we're also going to be uncovering what exactly is happening there in the transfer market. Cody Gakpo has come out and given us very interesting updates around the club. And look, he said, look, personally, I love Arsenal Football Club and more. Is this set to be our first signing? We're going to be looking at the story. And Memphis Depay is also linked to Arsenal. According to Sky Sport, yes, the player has been at Barcelona for quite a little time, but it looks like he's already fallen out of the pecking order, and Xavi will be able and happy to sell him to make a little profit for FC Barcelona. And finally, yesterday, of course, Darwin Nunez was in action, scored against Liverpool. It was quite a beautiful goal. I think his awareness yesterday was actually revealed. So we'll talk about Darwin Nunez as well. Smash a like on the video. Do subscribe to the channel if you love the content and you want to help your fellow Arsenal Gooner. Let's get our party started. Let's start off with Gabriel Martinelli and Saka contracts at the moment. Fabrizio Romano, in his recent Here We Go podcast, has come out and said Arsenal are much interested and they are aware of the quality of these two young boys. Actually, speaking about Gabriel Martinelli, Fabrizio has said Arsenal at the end of the season will sit with the Eintracht, will sit with the camp of Gabriel Martinelli to make sure that they give him a new contract at the end of the season. According to him, Martinelli wants to stay at Arsenal. His current deal will run out in 2024, but the player is happy at Arsenal. He would love to stay at Arsenal. So there is nothing between Martinelli and Saka. There are no other thoughts. There is no other direction. Both players really want to stay at the club. All they want is game time. They've been getting it, and Arsenal are absolutely positive that come the end of the season, Saka and Gabriel Martinelli will actually sign longer term contracts and will increase their stay at Arsenal. Personally, I believe Martinelli will stay. I believe Saka will stay as well. And look, what a revelation they have been for Arsenal in the last two seasons. I think this season, Gabriel Martinelli is very, very fortunate that he's not actually been disturbed by injuries a lot. Yes, at the beginning of the season, he suffered one, but when he came back, I think he came back very, very strongly, and we've seen him. His performances, his zeal, his drive is one of the things that are actually affecting Arsenal and our press really, really well. Saka, there are no words to explain Saka's 2 seasons. Last season, this season has been absolutely despicable. Look, just imagine a young lad, 20 years of age there, but has already contributed 15 goals in the Premier League, better than any other player at the team. He's phenomenal. He's taken us to top 4. He's taken us in that race, and is really leading us very well in against the likes of Tottenham, Manchester United, West Ham, clubs that you think have the quality, clubs that you think have the experience, clubs that you think have better managers, but they have, him single-handedly as a player deserves the credit for Arsenal and where we are this season. So Saka, Martinelli, according to Fabrizio, both players are focused on the project, and Mikel Arteta is interested in giving them long-term contracts. There are no other ways about it. There are no other thoughts, and I'm really, really glad and happy that Arsenal is thinking the way fans are thinking. Now, moving on to the injury update, lads, today. It's not really very, very good news. Yesterday, it was confirmed that Kieran Tierney will be ruled out of the season, ruled out for the season for Arsenal. Not the best story I can cover this morning. According to the Athletic and the Arsenal website, he has a knee injury. According to Mikel Arteta, the knee injury actually doesn't look very, very good. He's set to get surgery, and Scotland are also hoping and praying. Look, Look, my problem with Scotland, before we get to thinking about them, Kieran Tierney played 2 friendlies, 90 minutes. Of course, we know how much he loves his country. We know how much he loves to represent his country. But if it is friendlies, you can, that is a time to rotate. That is a time to keep the important players out. Look, we're going to miss him for the rest of the season, and it's going to cost us. Nuno Tavares is going to be in there. Probably, we hope he can do better than he did in the last, in the previous games he's been, appearing in. But think about, Scotland should think about the fact that they can miss him in that European World Cup qualifier where they'll have to play Ukraine and Wales, right? If they're going to join the World Cup. So if they miss him, it's a loss. So I thought, and in my opinion, I just thought, why didn't they just rest him? Why didn't they just maybe play him for one game and then the other game, squad rotate and do anything like that? But now Tierney is ruled out of the season, so Arsenal have to improvise. That is confirmed. He's going to go for a surgery that is actually going to keep him out for months unless there is a difference. So the other bit of news is around Thomas Partey. Thomas Partey is also set to go for a scan, not surgery, for scans, and it is highly likely that over the weekend, as we take on Brighton, he will not be available. Of course, Partey is one of our best performers in the recent months. Apart from that game against Crystal Palace, where he was absolutely awful, I do not know whether it was coming from the discomfort of the injury, but many of our players really looked unfit. Many of our players really looked off topic. So Partey again is suffering an injury, and actually Mikel Arteta said he's gonna go through a scan because he suffered an injury in the exact same position, in the exact same area. That is a thigh injury, but it's a recurring injury, and that's why they've decided to take him to the scan and see whether there is something to be specific about. So Partey, in our next 2 games, don't be surprised if you do not see him. And where does that leave Arsenal's chances for the top 4? Let me know in the comments below. Moving on to the transfer market, Ruben Neves. Today Arsenal we've got another update from the Ruben Neves story, and that is, of course, we know, according to The Athletic and David Ornstein, that Wolves have decided that they will be looking for replacements of Ruben Neves and Joao Martinez. Well, Joao Martinez's contract will be running down, and Ruben Neves is set to leave the club at the end of the season. Arsenal, Manchester United, and Barcelona are the clubs that are interested in the player. However, the huge update we have is that Arsenal have reached advanced talks with the player's agent. We've always been in talks with George Mendes, and we are really desperate to get the player. Since last summer, we wanted to get him. Of course, Granit Xhaka didn't move. I think that is one of the reasons as why it's either Xhaka's move blocked us from getting Ruben Neves, or Ruben Neves' failure blocked Xhaka from going to Roma. It's one of the two. I cannot really confirm, but with Jose Mourinho still very keen on getting Granit Xhaka in, it looks like Arsenal will be moving on to get their man there in Ruben Neves. So Ruben Neves, of course, he wants to go to Barca. Xavi wants him, and I think the system at Barca is very similar to the system at Wolves, and very similar to the system at Arsenal. Wherever he goes, whether he goes to Arsenal, whether he goes to Barcelona, I think he will actually do very well. He would give us that kind of cover to our back line, but also the ability to retain the ball and also passing accuracy, which are very strong attributes of his game. So we have advanced talks with the agent of the player, that is George Mendes. At the moment, there is nothing more than that. It is just talks, talks between us and the agent. The player is going to be moving in the summer, and I think this is an opportunity for us now. We now can confirm that our target will be on the move in the summer. So what we've got to do, honestly, in my opinion, move on. Right, just speed up the process. Barca is not going to be easy to beat in this market. They've already signed Christensen. They're looking at Rudiger. They're looking at Frank. They have already signed Frank Cossy, and they are on the way to give Ronald Araujo a new contract. what Xavi has done there and what they're doing at Barca is building a very attractive project where the likes of Bellingham, Haaland, Ruben Neves, all these players are going to be attracted to this project. So I think Arsenal, what we need to do, speed up the reaction. There is no doubt we can convince him to stay in the Premier League. It is one advantage we have. We have a project that is good enough. We have good players, and we are in a position where we can tell him, look, we are back in Europe. Probably Europa League or Champions League. It will depend, where we are at the end of the season. But it is where it is one position where we will go. Look, this is Arsenal. This is the Arsenal project. One thing we're offering you, we are letting you stay in the best league in the world, and also you're going to be part of the revolution at Arsenal. Obviously, the revolution has already started. Has been started by players like Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard, and the others. But now we have to add those marquee signings, just like Gary Neville said. Arsenal will need marquee signings. We'll need big signings if they're going to do anything close to what Manchester City have done and close to what Liverpool have done in the recent decade, in the recent half a decade. Now, moving on to what we would call our first signing revealed story. Cody Gakpo has come out and confessed that in the Premier League, he grew up watching the Premier League, and specifically, he loves Arsenal Football Club in the Premier League. Look, he said, I don't support any club in particular in the Premier League, but I love Arsenal a lot. I am really, really interested in playing for Arsenal, and I would love to join them. He says, way back, he used to watch the Premier League, and he used to watch Thierry Henry. And he says, well, because his point there was, he was a tall player playing on the wings. I think, look, because Cody Gakpo is another tall player playing on the wings. What he was trying to do there is trying to say that, look, I could be your next Thierry Henry. I think don't get ahead of yourself. Coming to Arsenal and becoming the next Thierry Henry, that is not something easy. That is very difficult. Of course, you're talking about Thierry Henry, one of the record goal scorers in the Premier League, but also Arsenal's record goal scorer. So you don't just stand in at PSV in the Netherlands and get a very big microphone and say, look, I want to be the next Thierry Henry at Arsenal. First and foremost, you have to love the club. Second of all, you have to be able to have the minerals to score the goals, to beat players 1v1. And I think Cody Gakpo is a very, very good player. I'm not trying to troll him, but look, listen, he models and he loves Thierry Henry and the fact that look, he was a tall winger playing for Arsenal on the flanks. My opinion about that Cody Gakpo story, look, according to reliable sources from PSV and the Netherlands, they have said that Arsenal are willing to pay anything, absolutely anything, to sign Cody Gakpo in the summer. It could be around 40 to 50 million that we need to part with, around 35 million pounds, but that is 40 to 50 million euros, I think, to get the deal done. Cody Gakpo, wonderful player, very, very nice signing for Arsenal. If he would come in, I think he would give us more goals off the flanks, and he would give us options. One thing that we lack at the moment. But anyway, I won't get ahead of myself. That story is also on the table. Cody Gakpo reveals his love for Arsenal, and he says, look, if there is a chance for me to move to the Premier League, I would love to go to the Premier League, and I would love to go to Arsenal Football Club as well. Now, yesterday, Darwin Nunez was in action, and he scored against Liverpool. Of course, they lost terribly, miserably, 3-1. Liverpool scoring through Sadio Mane, Ibrahima Konate, and of course, the man himself, Luis Diaz. Darwin Nunez was the only player on the score sheet for Benfica. I thought they could have scored like two because Nicolas Otamendi also got a very glorious opportunity, but then he didn't take it. And that is the problem when you're playing Liverpool. You need to take your chances because for them, they are ruthless. They got their chances and they used them up. But of course, we saw him. One thing I'm going to say about Darwin Nunez yesterday, I loved his goal. And the reason that's why I loved Darwin Nunez's goal was the fact that he was absolutely aware and he never switches off. Because if you look at the goal he scored, it was a crossing, and Konate skips. He mistimes the clearance, and the ball just slides under his feet, and there and then Darwin Nunez is alive. That is something that Arsenal are missing. We miss a punisher, we miss a gunman, we miss someone who can capitalize on those little mistakes that defenders do in the penalty area. Now Liverpool will say this is over because it was in Portugal, and now it's coming at the Anfield, and it's going to be a loss of quality. But just imagine if if Benfica can hold on and just press Liverpool against the pedal and get those 2 goals, maybe 2 goals to nil, maybe 3 goals to 1. I don't know, but it just he just gave them a lifeline, and I think Benfica just threw it away. As the game was ending, when they played the kind of high line, and Liverpool just scored a third. If they could hold on to a 2-1 defeat, come at the Anfield, look for that 1-0 margin, and then go to penalties. You never know what could happen. I mean, they've done it to Ajax. They could do it again. But anyway, one thing I loved about Darwin Nunez yesterday was the fact that he has absolute composure, and he's always, he doesn't switch off. He's waiting for that opportunity in the penalty area, and as soon as it arrived yesterday, brilliant, he put it away. Lastly, lads, today we have a story from Sky Sport, and they are saying that Arsenal are actually interested in Memphis Depay. So this is what they've said. RFC are among the teams keen on bringing former Manchester United forward Memphis Depay back to the Premier League, according to reports. I don't know what you think about this story, but in my opinion, I think Arsenal should stay away as possible from whatever it is. We should stay away, away from Memphis Depay. Depay is a good player, but if you look at his career and the productive age, I do not think he's becoming any better. Yes, look. In the past 3 seasons, he managed to revive his career, and that's why Barcelona under Ronald Koeman signed him, because they felt like he's a player who can add something. And to be honest, he's been a revelation signing for them. He's been a revelation for them. But should Arsenal then walk in and try to sign him? In my opinion, no. Let's move on. Let's go for young players. We have the experience in Partey. We have the experience in Xhaka. We have the experience in a few players. Let us move on and get those young players that will actually strengthen our squad. So Memphis Depay, look, Barcelona looking to make just a little profit, but look, I don't see it as very relevant. Yes, he would add something to our squad, especially in terms of squad depth, one player that could actually wait from the bench and things like that. But I don't think Arsenal should actually be madly in love with such a signing. And lastly, last but not the least, is Mohamed Elneny. According to Fabrizio Romano, Arsenal have already started looking for midfielders to replace Mohamed Elneny. Yesterday, I recommended, I suggested Ryan Gravenberch, and some of you in the comment box told me, Cossy, Ryan Gravenberch would be a revelation for Arsenal, and I cannot disagree. I cannot actually agree more. Ryan Gravenberch would be a revelation, but for me, Mohamed Elneny's time for Arsenal is up. All the players that played with him, all the players that have been the core around him, Socrates, Mesut Ozil, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, all those signings that all the players of his time at Arsenal are getting extinct. And honestly, how many times has he played for Arsenal this season? Let him go to Turkey, let him go to anywhere else and find himself game time. That is all for me today in this morning. Smash a like on the video, do subscribe to the channel, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be sure to speak to you in the next one.